It's 6 p.m. Cairo local time, and it's the English news bulletin on Channel 2. This is Sahar Talawi, starting up with the main headlines. President Sisi meets Prime Minister Madbouli to review the energy files. Israel says refrain from further strikes on Iran after Trump call. Palestinian. Welcome back to the news in full. President Sisi asserted the importance to intensify the government efforts to attract more investments to the renewable energy sector. The president also reiterated the need to sustain the supplies for the national network and also the electricity and to continue implementing the projects to improve the efficiency of the energy sector. The president's remarks came during his meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli and the Minister of Electricity and Renewable Energy, Mahmoud Asmat. The meeting also reviewed the ways of supporting the national electricity network in a bid to provide the need from the renewable energy. President Sisi held a phone call with the Qatar's Emir Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. The presidential spokesman said that during the call, Sisi expressed full rejection and the condemnation to any breach to the sovereignty of Qatar following the attacks by Iran on the military base. Sisi also praised the wisdom of the Qatari leadership in managing the crisis and hailed the military capabilities of Qatar. And also Sisi, during the call, the two leaders exchanged their views over regional development on the Middle East and peace efforts during the Iranian-Israel ceasefire. And Israel refrained from further strikes on Iran on Tuesday after a call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Trump had accused both Iran and Israel of violating the ceasefire he had announced late overnight, but hours later he posed that it was now in effect. And also, meanwhile, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz claimed that Iran had completely violated the ceasefire between Israel and Iran by launching the missiles more than 2 hours after the ceasefire came into effect. Katz said he instructed the Israeli military to resume targeting Iranian parliamentary and the government targets in Tehran. And a tentative truce faltered Tuesday when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to retaliate after saying Iran launched missiles into its airspace more than 2 hours after the ceasefire was supposed to take effect. The Iranian media said that Iran's military denied firing on Israel, but explosions boomed and the sirenes sounded across the northern Israeli mid-morning. The ceasefire agreement was announced early Tuesday morning by U.S. President Donald Trump, and Tehran launched a limited retaliatory missile attack on U.S. military base in Qatar on Monday. Between Trump's post and the start of the ceasefire, Israel launched a blitz of airstrikes targeting the sites across Iran before the dawn, and Iran replied with an onslaught of missiles that killed at least 4 people. And the UN Security Council will hold an emergency meeting later today following the U.S. strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities. The meeting will be on the Council third since that Israel-Iran conflict began. Meanwhile, the director of International Atomic Energy Agency told an earlier emergency meeting on the UN Security Council that the craters were visible at the Fordo facility, but it had not been possible to access the underground damage. And meanwhile, Cairo welcomed U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement of reaching a ceasefire between the Iranians and the Israelis. A statement by the Foreign Ministry described the announcement as a sustainable development toward containing the latest dangerous events in the region. He said it is a turning point toward ending the military confrontation between the two sides and to a return to the calm in the region. The statement also said that the step is a real chance to stop the cycle of the confrontations and tit-for-tat attacks and prepares the atmosphere to return to a diplomatic and the political efforts. And moving to the Israeli occupation forces and the drones opened fire forward. Hundreds of people waiting for aid trucks in central Gaza early. And the United Nations condemned on Tuesday the weaponization of food in Gaza as a war crime and urged Israel military to stop shooting at people trying to get the food. The UN Human Rights Office said that, however, Israel's occupation forces militarized the humanitarian assistance mechanism in coordination with the international standards on aid distribution. And moving to Lebanon, where Lebanon's health ministry said an Israeli strike killed 3 people Tuesday in the country's south. And it's the latest such raid despite a November ceasefire with the Hezbollah resistance group. The Israeli have kept up the regular strikes on Lebanon, particularly in the south, since a November 27 ceasefire meant to end over a year to the hostilities, including 2 months of all-out war. And moving to Russia, where Russia fired the dozens of drones and missiles at Ukraine, wiping open a housing block in Kiev, killing 10 civilians and burying others beneath the rubble. The Russian occupies around a fifth Ukraine and claims to have angst for Ukrainian regions since invading in 2022. Details follow.
Russian drone attacks killed 3 people in Ukraine's northeastern region of Sumy, including a child. It came a day after Ukraine said Russia carried out dozens of drone and missile strikes on its territory, killing 10 people in the capital, Kiev. Diplomatic efforts to end the 3-year war have stalled, with the last direct meeting between Kiev and Moscow almost 3 weeks ago, and no follow-up talks scheduled. Russian drone strikes also left 5 people wounded in Kiev, as well as 4 others in Donetsk region. Russia had fired dozens of drones and missiles at Ukraine a day earlier, ripping open a housing block in Kiev, killing 10 civilians and burying others beneath the rubble. Separate Russian attacks on Monday in the southern Odessa region left 2 people dead and another dozen wounded. Russia occupies around a fifth of Ukraine and claims to have annexed 4 Ukrainian regions as its own since launching its invasion in 2022. In addition to Crimea, which is captured in 2014, Kiev has accused Moscow of deliberately sabotaging a peace deal in order to prolong its full-scale offensive and to seize more territory.
Back at home, where Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli sent the cable of the congratulations to President Sisi on the occasion of the new Hijri year. The Prime Minister Madbouli asserted that this occasion involves most the elevated meanings of the sacrifice for the sake of the spreading the principles of Islam. And in his message, the Prime Minister vowed also to continue working and exerting all efforts to push forward development and construction to achieve the prosperous future for Egyptian people. Prime Minister Madbouli also sent the cable of congratulation to the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, Sheikh Ahmed Al-Tayyib, on the occasion of the new Hijri year. The Prime Minister wished the Grand Imam Al-Tayyib on his occasion the health and the success and the great people of Egypt and the Islamic nation, all the progress, elevation and the prosperity. And to the economy news, where the Minister of Transportation, Kamil Kamil al-Wazir witnessed on Tuesday the signing a contract of building 2 new joint dry bulk vessels between the National Navigation Company affiliated to the Ministry of Transportation and the Chinese Asna Hantong. During the signing ceremony, the Minister of Transportation stressed that the contract comes under the framework of the transforming Egypt into a regional center of transportation, logistics and transit trade, in addition to regaining the strength of the Egyptian fleet as a joint economic tool and the fundamental basis in the national economy. And the head of the Central Authority of the Suez Canal Economic Zone, Walid Gamalidin, asserted that the economic zone aims to enhance the industrial investment, which is part of the strategic vision that aims to boost Egypt's industrial exports. And his comments came during the meeting delegation from the Chinese Clean Region Chamber for the Trade. Gamalidin highlighted the unprecedented opportunities and the competitive advantages of the authority as the strategic geographical location of the ports on both of the Red and the Mediterranean seas, which provides access to around 2 billion consumers worldwide. And the oil prices sank more than 5% Tuesday after Israel said it had agreed to U.S. President Donald Trump's proposal for the bilateral ceasefire with Iran. Brent was down 5.2% per the barrel, while the main U.S. crude contract WTI was 5.4% lower per barrel. The crude prices had briefly spiked Monday during the prospect that Iran could retaliate to the weekend U.S. attack on its nuclear facilities by thwarting oil transport through the strategic Strait of Hormuz. By this, we come to the end of our English News Bulletin on Channel 2. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sahar Talawi. Stay tuned.